We're here at the Society of Motor Manufacturers and Traders Test Day at a secret location in Bedfordshire where they test all of the cars. And I'm talking to the Chief Executive, Mike Hawes of the SMMT. Mike, you've got all the stats and all the knowledge of what's going on in the marketplace. Now, it rather looks as though the European market is bouncing back a little bit. The UK market perhaps a little bit more sluggish to get an uplift.
Yeah, the two markets have sort of been out of sync with each other. Coming out of the recession, the UK market grew very fast, and so we exceeded our pre-recession levels some 2-3 years ago. Now there's a degree of stabilization taking place in the market. That contrasts with Europe, where most of the markets were very slow to come out of recession. You think big markets like Spain and how deep they were in recession. So it's not surprising that they're on the growth path. I think we always have to remember that the state of the market in the UK is still at historically very high levels.
Yeah, the numbers are quite impressive, although it's flatlined a little bit the last 2-3 months. But are you expecting a pick-up sort of later in the year? Will the concern about future purchases of diesel cars continue to keep the market down?
It is. I think we'll see a bit more stability over the market for the rest of the year. It's been a bit erratic in the last few months when you compare it to what was a very erratic 2017 with vehicle excise duty changes, consumers pulling forward purchases and then the subsequent drop. I think what you are seeing as well is beginning to see more clarity about what the government thinks about diesel, and over the next few weeks I think you'll see that when they set out their strategy for the long term, they'll be making some positive statements about diesel and the important role it plays for many people, especially high mileage drivers, and indeed the contribution that can make to CO2 reduction. So I think more stability in the market and hopefully a bit more clarity around diesel.
I think the marketplace and the industry would certainly like some clarity on the Brexit position, because that really has the potential to hurt an awful lot of car companies based in this country.
Yeah, Brexit is probably the biggest challenge facing the automotive industry in the UK. We don't know what our future trading relationship is going to be with our biggest export market. It takes over 50% of all our exports. We operate on the same regulatory framework. We're totally integrated within the European automotive industry, with supply and component parts coming back and forth. This uncertainty is clearly not helpful, but we always knew there was going to be this period of uncertainty following the referendum. What matters is we safeguard as many of the benefits that we currently enjoy as possible. That means having access to talent. It means having totally frictionless trade. Not as frictionless as possible, frictionless trade. That can be delivered by customs union and indeed a single market. And we also want to make sure that we take advantage of the relationships that the EU has with third countries, the free trade agreements it has, because they account for probably over 10% of our exports as well. So must be careful that whilst we want to strike as a country new trade deals with growing markets, let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater and totally turn our back on Europe.
So decisions are needed. Just finally, how many jobs are involved if things go wrong with the Brexit?
Well, I think I don't think it's a case of looking at what jobs are at risk. This is a very important sector, and the government knows that. Invariably, when they're talking about Brexit and its impact on industry, the Prime Minister and others will cite the automotive industry because they recognise that relationship we have with Europe and how we operate in just-in-time processes and so forth. We employ over 800,000 people in the industry. A lot of those are in retail, but 170,000 are in manufacturing. These are high-value jobs. We've been growing because we have been successful, because our fundamentals are strong. Those things, those fundamentals, high-skilled workforce, producing high-quality products, they're still there. What we need to be sure is the uncertainty around our future relationship with markets is confirmed as soon as possible.
So the future hopeful?
Always hopeful, but there is a lot of challenges out there, probably more challenges we've seen in technology, in trade, and everything else than we've ever seen simultaneously before.
Thank you very much, Mike. Much appreciated. Thank you.